Secret meeting. Bruce Lee and Joe Frazier. America was in the midst of the golden age of boxing. Stadiums were bathed in the light of spotlights. Cameras followed every punch. And the heavyweight champions were not just fighters, they were symbols. And the most powerful among these symbols was one name: Music Joe Frazier, the king of pressure, terror of the left hook, the man who sent Muhammad Ali to the canvas. If someone had asked at that time who the most dangerous fighter in the world was, in boxing circles the answer would have been unanimous: Music. But there was another name, one that didn't echo in stadiums, but in closed halls: Bruce Lee. To the public, a movie star. To boxers, an outsider. Music, a man known for his speed and philosophy, but for unreal fights. However, one night, a meeting took place that was not recorded in chronicles or on film, without gloves, without rounds, without spectators. Music, what happened there was never called a fight, but eyewitnesses later said the same thing. Music, if it had happened in front of the public, the line between boxing and a real fight would have been erased forever. A clash of systems. America in 1970 was an arena not only for sport but also for ego. Boxing was a measure of manliness. Being a heavyweight champion meant being officially considered the most intimidating person on the planet. Joe Frazier fit this definition perfectly. He was laconic. His confidence was shown not in interviews, but in constant forward movement. Music, endless endurance, and that very left hook, which was not just a punch, but a sentence. Trainers saw in Frazier a perfect weapon. Music, his style was simple, but in that simplicity lay his strength. He didn't seek complicated angles. He went straight through and crushed his opponent. This was the frequency of boxing, questioning which was considered almost blasphemous. At the same time, Bruce Lee moved in a completely different direction. He wasn't interested in belts or titles. Music, his goal was absolute efficiency. Lee analyzed every style: boxing, wrestling, music, karate, fencing. For him, they were tools, not dogmas. This made him a controversial figure. Traditional martial arts masters were irritated because he rejected their systems. Boxers felt uncomfortable because he questioned the logic of brute force. Bruce respected boxing. He admired Frazier's strength and heart. But respect and blind acceptance were different things for him. Lee said, when a fighter only gets used to moving forward, he closes his eyes. This creates pressure but also opens gaps. For the boxing world, such words addressed to their main hero were unacceptable. Tension arose that the public never fully understood. Bruce Lee didn't come to challenge Frazier personally. He challenged the system. A meeting in silence. The private meeting was organized not for a show, but out of pure curiosity. People from two different worlds wanted to understand each other. The meeting didn't take place in a stadium. Music, without tickets or press. It was a dialogue between two people who believed in truth more than their fame. Joe Frazier was at the peak of his form. Bruce, the model of a powerful fighter. For Frazier's camp, it was an easy test. They, Music, thought the movie star would simply be impressed by the champion's power. They underestimated Lee's observation. Music, when they met, silence fell in the hall. No bragging, no mockery. At first, they just discussed training and routines. Frazier proudly explained how he pressed the opponent round after round. Bruce listened without interrupting. Then he asked one question. How do you maintain focus when you are constantly pressing and the opponent is moving? The question seemed simple, but its essence was profound. An aggressive fighter often narrows his field of vision. Movement without rules. Then movement began. Without gloves, music just two bodies in space. Frazier instinctively began to advance. Bruce refused to retreat in a straight line. He used angles and microscopic steps, subtly shifting Joe's attack vectors. At first, no one used full power, but at some point Frazier's pressure increased. He came closer. Bruce did not strike, he simply changed position. And that's when those present realized, music, something unusual was happening. Usually, when a heavyweight moves forward, a lightweight reacts. Here, the lightweight dictated to the heavyweight where to move. This was not retreat, this was control. For Bruce, it was proof of a theory. Directed pressure becomes predictable, and predictability is the greatest weakness. When Frazier settled into his comfort rhythm, Lee instantly noticed a shift. Bruce took a half step sideways and slightly inward. The movement was so fast it could only be analyzed in slow motion. Instead of a strike, Lee merely touched Frazier's ribs with his fingers. A light touch, causing no pain. Music, but carrying a heavy message. Here, you could have been defeated. It was not an insult, it was a demonstration. Frazier, music being a professional, instantly adjusted his stance. He realized this was no ordinary sparring. In the next exchange, Bruce again only lightly touched his neck. A heavy silence hung in the room. The most frightening thing was Lee's face, calm, without a drop of adrenaline or anger. For a fighter used to fierce resistance, such calm in the opponent is the most demoralizing sight. Consequences and realization. The meeting was brief, but it changed a lot. There were no winners or losers, but the previous confidence in the system's infallibility cracked. Frazier was not angry. In his eyes was professional curiosity. He even asked Bruce a question about timing. Lee's answer was brief. Timing is not just speed. It is the ability to make a move before the opponent makes a final decision. You find yourself where a punch is already useless even before it is thrown. This episode did not become public knowledge. Had it been known that a movie actor shook the foundation of a great champion's mastery, it would have struck the entire boxing industry. But for those present, it was a mental shift. Years later, as combat sports evolved, Bruce's ideas on movement, angles, and adaptability became a foundation for all fighters. Boxing analysts eventually acknowledged that against power fighters, the most effective tools are movement and timing. What is now written in textbooks, Bruce demonstrated in that closed room back in the 70s. The legacy of the secret fight. The story of this meeting lives on because it is not about a fight, but a clash of philosophies. Joe Frazier was a great champion of his time, operating within strict rules. Bruce Lee, however, looked to a future where no boundaries existed. Bruce never used this event for self-promotion. For him, it was a process of discovery, and true knowledge doesn't require shouting. It is absorbed silently. Frazier's silence was also significant. When something truly challenges your mind, you don't argue. You contemplate it. This was a secret meeting, proof that thought ahead of its time first hides, then becomes the standard. It was not just a fight between Bruce Lee and Joe Frazier. It was a battle of pressure versus perception, strength versus awareness, rules versus reality. And the result of this battle cannot be recorded on scorecards. Its result is understanding. And the things that teach understanding, music, often remain in the shadows, waiting for their moment.